Yeah, so it's going to be an exclusive Benny's deal.
Well, when we get a hold of some, we'll have to maybe have you come back on.
Oh yeah.
We'll send you some.
Yeah, I won't have any.
This week we're joined again by Tommy from Brickstone to discuss Dark Secret. This is episode 69 of the Malting Hour.
What's the hats on the hops? Got yeast and speeds. This the Malting Hour where we talk about our drink and tell you what we think every other week. And if we get drunk, well, we might slur our speech. Got the gift of gab, the friends you wish you had. Join us for a drink, join us for a laugh. Time is never wasted, where you getting wasted. The Malting Hour here, people take your places. People take your places. People take your home.
Welcome to the Malting Hour. I am one of your hosts, Tony Golick, joined always with
Brandon Winninger.
And that's it again. It's just us. No Clark.
No Clark.
Sorry, Clark. Still not here. That's okay. You're off doing your thing. And we miss you. And we look forward to seeing you soon for an episode actually coming up.
Being a dad.
Yeah. Good job. I hope hockey is treating you well. From what he was telling us, he gets to visit a lot of breweries on these hockey dad trips. So that's cool.
So not only is hockey expensive, but brewery visits are expensive too.
Exactly. Well, this is going to be now 2 weeks in a row where we're following up on promises that we made, that when we've had breweries or someone from a brewery on a show, we're like, oh man, we can't wait to do this again. Maybe sometime this year. And we did it again. This past week was with Short Fuse. And this week, Brandon, who do we got with us again?
We are welcoming back Tommy from Brickstone Brewery. Tommy, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, this is exciting. We had so much fun the last episode, and since then, not that we weren't all familiar with APA and everything else. Your beers have definitely made regular appearances in my fridge throughout this year. And it's just because I will say because the beers are good, but also we got a chance to talk with you. So it was like each time I drink these beers, it's like remembering how much fun we had on that episode.
Like I'm talking to you again.
Yeah, exactly. So, it's creepy. It's great. Thanks.
If Tommy's talking to you again when you're drinking that beer, that means you've had too many of those beers.
Especially if it's in my whisper voice.
It's always saying, have another.
Call off work tomorrow.
Right.
Oh, man.
So this is actually kind of a special reason that we have Tommy on. We're coming up on what is becoming a kind of a holiday on its own in Chicago. Most people celebrate Black Friday just to go out and do random shopping and buy things that they don't need.
Or recover from the day before.
Yes, or their turkey recovery. But it has become a tradition now for several Chicago area breweries to do some barrel-aged releases on that day. And I know we touched on it briefly last time we talked to Tommy, but they have some new barrel-aged beers coming out, so it's part of their Dark Secret series. So I'm excited to hear kind of what the lineup is and what people can expect this year, and then if there's any surprises that you're going to throw out there, I'd love to hear that too. Like, you want to break any secrets?
Any dark secrets? Oh,
yeah.
See what you did.
Thank you.
Yeah, so kind of recapping, Tommy, why don't you kind of give us the history of Dark Secret and how that started out? And I know initially it wasn't a barrel-aged beer, right? And then it kind of morphed into that, and it's now kind of continued that streak.
Yeah, so, Dark Secret, been brewing at Brickstone since 2006, and Dark Secret was began development probably in, 2010, I would say. And it is actually the only imperial stout I brewed at the time, and just until last year I brewed my second imperial stout in my life. So Dark Secret's always been the first imperial stout I ever brewed. Never changed the recipe from day one, so we've been happy with it. And like you said, when we first released it, people said, hey, brew a stronger stout for the winter. I said, okay, let's brew this stout and let's boil it for a while. So we did that, and it wasn't barrel aged. And then it came to the point where we said, hey, let's start having fun with some barrels. And we've been doing that every year since. And now we used to call it barrel aged dark secret, but now it's kind of gone to everybody knows that dark secret is barrel aged. So we never release the unbarrel aged version ever anymore. And we're pretty happy. This is a special year for us because it's our 15-year anniversary.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Plus, it is we're going to do our Black Friday event at the Brew Pub again, where you'll be able to purchase it there only. Dark Secret over the last few years, we've been lucky enough to sell a lot of it at the Brew Pub during our events, and it really hasn't made it out to market. We're actually trying to get it out to market a little bit more starting next year. There is some few cases out there, but I'd say 95% of it is sold at the Brew Pub. This year we brewed about 33% more than we did prior year. So we're hoping to get it out to the market. Some barrels I just got in. We got some Bliss Maple bourbon barrels from Heaven Hill.
Ooh.
We got some Elijah
Nice.
Craig 20-year-old barrels. We got some rum barrels. So, next year we're going to have a lot more variety of stuff. This year, Black Friday, we're releasing our Double Oak Woodford Reserve. And then we also have Double Oak Woodford Reserve aged on vanilla. So those are 2 canned variances. After that, we'll have some stuff in draft, a bunch of different stuff we're, playing around and having fun with, like we did last year with raspberry tiramisu Irish cream. But it, like I said, it's a special year for us being our 15th anniversary and bringing it back to the brew pub. Obviously COVID stopped that the prior year. So a lot of our customers are excited to come and see people they haven't seen in a while. And we open up at 8 a.m. We have biscuits and gravy and beer.
Oh my God.
What else could you ask for on a Friday after Thanksgiving?
Brandon, what are we doing Black Friday?
I don't know. We might have to go down there.
I was just as everything's going through my head, I'm like, well, my mom and stepdad are in town, and I could make the road trip. They could come with. They'd enjoy it. That would be a fun time. Maybe we should just
breakfast.
Honestly,
you had me at biscuits and gravy.
Yeah, not only does this year's Dark Secret, which by the way, I like that it's just called Dark Secret, and that I don't know why, but when you were saying that, and you're like, yeah, the barrel age is just out of it. It's just called Dark Secret now because everybody knows what it is. I kind of like that. I feel like it. When you hear barrel age for certain beers, that's great, but it makes it seem like there's something else, like there's another version of that beer. And like you said, it's just Dark Secret now, and that's all it is. So that kind of just becomes, a part of it. There's other barrel aged beers that do the same thing. But I think that's great. But hearing what you guys did this year and what's available, oh man, I saw the post today on Instagram and saw the reveal of what Dark Secret is. And I got really excited, especially because I'm a huge fan of vanilla in big stouts. That's, to me, is just like, I think we talked about this on the Short Fuse episode about how vanilla is used in baking to bring out the other flavors. And that works exceptionally well in stouts, especially barrel aged stouts. I feel like when you've got the right amount of vanilla, I do also really enjoy like huge vanilla bombs where it's like, oh man, there's just a lot of vanilla and booze behind it. I'll drink it. I will drink vanilla extract if I need to. I love it that much. But just Brandon shaking his head. No, I'm not really going to do it. I'm excited, man. And I will say that there is a place that Brandon and I live by that did have Dark Secret on the shelves. So I'm hoping that place still has it. I'm not going to say it just now because
did they?
They did. It's the Benny's bias. The Benny's by on Portage Park had it.
Oh, do they still have it?
Not anymore. It's gone, baby. That was last year.
Last year. Oh, yeah.
So I'm hoping maybe that it might make its way over there.
So that was kind of how, after we did the last episode, I think, Tommy, you had hinted on kind of like the different variations that you had done. And I had remembered that I had just saw that there was a Benny's that had Dark Secret still on the shelf. So I ran there, I grabbed that, drank it, and it was awesome. And then when we were talking about doing this episode, I thought, well, I wonder if there's any minis that still has any Dark Secret from last year. And the one on Logan Square actually had 2 4-packs left. I bought one of them. I wasn't greedy. And the guy's like, he's like, man, I'm surprised you knew we had this. He's like, I don't think it was on the shelf anymore. He's like, but we have it sitting in the back. I'm like, why don't you put it on the shelf? Somebody will buy it. But I bought it. So, and I was excited too, because, you know, I think I got 2 of the base, just regular barrel aged Dark Secrets. And then there was one raspberry tiramisu and one Irish cream that I did give to Tony that he's not drinking right now. But I am drinking the raspberry tiramisu, and I had this one earlier this year, and this one is awesome. I'm a fan of tiramisu in general. I don't know if I've ever had raspberry tiramisu, but just the way the flavors kind of go so well together in this, and like the vanilla, the chocolate, all of that kind of richness from the stout, kind of definitely accentuates the raspberry, which is awesome. But I'm just kind of curious, like, what did you guys do to kind of get that to build this flavor profile?
Yeah, so we used vanilla. We used pureed raspberries. We used some, I believe we used cocoa chocolate in that variant, and we thought the raspberry was obviously going to be the dominant flavor in it, and the vanilla will help bring out some of that chocolate flavor, you know, give that sweetness to it. So we were happy, and I don't think we covered up too much of the barrel by putting way too much raspberry in it or vanilla. So, you know, upon smelling it, you get some raspberry aromatics, and then, you know, tasting it, you get it right up there in front, and towards the end, you get some of that chocolate and vanilla flavor. So we were pretty happy trying to. We've never, you know, really adjuncted Dark Secret. And it was the first year, and it was a pretty good success because people have had Dark Secret and they've had barrel aged, they've had vanilla, and then for us to come out and say, hey, let's just do some other flavors, which this year I think we got, like, on Black Friday we have like 10 different variances on draft of Dark Secret.
So you're saying I should get up early and make it.
Yeah.
The one thing I did notice, I didn't mean to cut you off, but kind of to your point about, like, with the amount of raspberry in there, one thing I did find interesting when I do pour it, the light hit it just right, and the head on it had like a nice kind of red hue to it. Yeah. And that was kind of neat. Yeah,
definitely.
Wish I knew what that was like right now.
Right. But so what Tony means by that, Tony's not drinking this, obviously. Tony's drinking. He's actually doing it the 15th anniversary. But if I'm correct, that, Tommy, that is a very, like, it's Dark Secret, correct?
Yeah. So it's Dark Secret 15, we called it. You know, us being our 15-year anniversary, we said let's do a special Dark Secret release that's not on Black Friday. So that's where that came from. We've never released Dark Secret not on Black Friday. This was aged in Blanton barrels for 18 months. The double oak Woodford's been aged for 21 months.
Whoa.
So it's very interesting to try the same batch of Dark Secret aged on different barrels for different times. So I'm actually drinking the Weller and the Blanton. So last year's Weller and then this year's 15 Blantons.
Do a blend.
I'm letting them warm up a little bit, but I'm getting a couple different flavors from them from the barrels. But it's interesting because they're the same batch of Dark Secret, but just different time of different barrels.
It's fun how the barrels, and for people, when I explain to some people like coworkers or even family members, barrel aged beers, why it's so exciting and what's so special about them is exactly what you just said. You took the same batch of beer, aged them in different barrels, and it really does bring out different flavors and nuances that only come from those particular barrels and the way that the beer is aged in it, because whiskeys and bourbons are different recipes, and depending on the barrel and what happens at the time with the barrel, what all comes out of it ends up getting imparted into the beer in different ways. And there's a lot of science behind it, and it's really exciting when you get to try a new barrel aged beer, or like you're saying, the two beer, one batch, two different barrels. That's exciting just to try in itself. To me, those are like variants right there.
Yeah. And people don't understand, they sell it just a whiskey barrel. It's the same thing. No, there's different flavors coming from every
Right.
barrel. When we taste all the barrels throughout, and there's a day, I think I had a picture last week where it was a shorter day of tasting barrels. We tasted like 12 or 14 different barrels and lined them all up. And, we go down the line with the team and everyone's getting different flavors out of every single batch. And then we blend them together and, it really comes to, the beer we want it to become. You get some more bourbon out of one, some more dark fruits out of the other, but it's pretty fun to try the different barrels. We've thought about doing a single barrel dark secret release one time. It's a lot harder for us because our tanks are larger. So, getting one barrel and canning, it's a little harder for us, but we thought about trying to do that.
Well, if you ever just want two random podcast guys from Chicago, doesn't have to be about our podcast, just as extra tasters, you know how to get a hold of Brandon. That sounds that is one of the things that I find so awesome when we talk to other people who work at breweries, the whole tasting process. Like, yes, it's your job, and you're going through it, and there's some professional aspect to it, but at the end of the day, you're literally trying like such cool shit in one, like with all the people that you're around and work with. It's like, what coolness did we, what delicious goodness did we end up with? And, you guys get a chance to try and then blend it all together. I mean, and, to try and put out the best tasting thing possible. Not only is it, that probably is a little stressful, but that just sounds freaking fun, man.
Yeah. We've tasted these barrels from, I would say 6 months on.
That's awesome.
So seeing it from 6
Every
months
day.
develop, it's fun because you see, okay, at the 6 month mark, you're like, I'm not getting all the flavors I really like in Dark Secret. So then we let it go a little longer. And actually we got to the year point and we're like, man, this is really tasting good. Let's see what it is longer. And I'm tasting the two side by side right now. And the one that's aged longer, I'm like, I'm getting a little bit different flavors out of it. And I'm like, wow, this is kind of nice. Same beer, like I said, but it's fun to track it through the whole process from 6 months all the way this year to 21 months.
That's awesome.
If we could, I'd age a little longer. We've done some double barrels that have aged longer. Those were close to 2 years, but this is the longest single barrel aging we did.
That's really cool. I went in for a couple sips of the 15, and the smell, the aroma on it, like hit me right away. It's very much a barrel aged beer. There's a roasty, chocolatey vanilla deal going here, and then my first sip, I got like a bitter sweetness that I like. Like, it's not overly sweet. I do like that. There are some barrel aged beers that I think are just too sweet that maybe you lose sight of, just a solid stout. If it's an imperial sweet stout, that's one thing, but there's a sweetness to it, but it's not overly sweet. There's this nice, like a bitter coffee flavor. And then there was like the barrel. And then this last sip I got, which I don't normally get in, I wouldn't say normally, but I don't get in a lot of barrel aged beers. And I think this is a really nice flavor. It's like a dark fruit almost, just in the back. I
get like a dark fruit raisin or prune in the end.
Yeah, exactly. That's nice. I like that there's different layers as I'm going through this beer of from when it hits my tongue to when it hits my gullet. There's all these different flavors that I'm getting. I think, again, that's something that I wish people who don't dabble in trying barrel aged beers, you miss out on. It's like wine. I compare it to like when you drink a good wine. When you try a good wine, and you can taste all these different things, or even just bourbon itself. There's all these different layers that you can get from it, and when you can get that in a beer, I think that just screams like well executed, and that the brewery and the brewers and everybody took real care and thought and time, and obviously 6 months of sampling every single barrel, as tough as that was, to really get the right tasting beer. And this to me is awesome. There's also like a dark, I get a nice dark cocoa too that I love.
We use a lot of dark chocolate malt in this, and I'm tasting the Weller from last year, and I get more chocolate than dark fruit, so it's kind of nice taste side by side.
Brandon, do you have any more Weller cans on hand?
I don't.
Son of a bitch.
I got a few 4-packs left, so I'll send them over to you guys.
Or if we stop on by on Black Friday, maybe we'll see.
Here you go. Yeah.
Me and my mom and my stepdad and Brandon.
So here's a question that I have, because there's obviously different methods that we talked about what you use to get, your flavoring into the raspberry tiramisu. At what stage do you add the flavors?
Everything's closer to the end of fermentation in the barrel, so read them in the barrels. If I remember, we're probably doing the few weeks beforehand, and then we're letting them sit.
So it does spend some time in the barrel.
Yeah, we do. We let it spend time in the barrel.
That's awesome. Yeah, because the reason I asked too, there was another brewery that I will not name that I saw. They were moving their barrel aged stuff out and then putting it into bright tanks and then just letting the adjunct sit on it for like 3 days, and then they were canning it. And I'm like, that doesn't seem like a lot of time. And then I also thought like that could either be really good or really bad, because you may get way too much of that flavoring or you may get not enough of that flavoring. So
yeah. This year I was thinking, I said, I wonder if I put some in way earlier in the process to see what's going to happen. And I might, we have extra barrels this year, so this might be the year that we're starting to experiment with different stuff. But I think we'll lose some of the flavors, as it ages.
Yeah, I mean, speaking for this raspberry tiramisu, a year old now, and the flavor is still amazing. So that's what's nice, that like it held up really well.
Thanks.
Yeah, feel free to pour some of that in like a solo cup for me, and I'll come grab it tomorrow. Just pour a little to the side of a little shot glass, and I'll just
leave you a splash.
Thanks, that'd be great. Yeah, it's the whole idea of adjuncting barrel-aged stouts has always intrigued me, because you already have something, as I was saying, like is very well thought out. When it came to doing any variants, like the variants you guys have this year, and then obviously the ones we were just talking about, the Irish cream, the raspberry tiramisu, when you guys does it come like after the fact, like when you've got the beer maybe where you want it, and then you're like, well, let's try this because I really like the way that this beer tastes, I think this would work well with it? Or do you already kind of have something in mind?
So last year we were lucky enough to be able to release a Weller. We released a vanilla espresso, Irish cream, raspberry tiramisu. We had more barrels this year coming to this Black Friday release. We're pretty limited, so
sure. We
want people to be able to enjoy the work that's been put into this beer of just the barrel aged. So, and then we decided, I love vanilla and imperial stouts barrel aged. So, I didn't want to add anything else. And just because we were very limited this year coming up at this Black Friday release, I said, let's just take the two, one vanilla, one regular barrel aged, because we wouldn't have the extra beer to try something else different. So I think last year we're lucky enough to have a little bit more ready. So we're able to, let's just, I think it was a couple months beforehand, we have a table upstairs in our office that we all kind of sit around. It's our round square table that we sit at, but we kind of just start thinking of different flavors, and then we start playing with them. We use, different beers to flavor and, taste and see how they're going to come to life. And I think this is something that the team said, hey, let's try this, let's try that. And we said, okay, let's for the first time, let's adjunct Dark Secret with something else, pastry-esque. And it's pretty fun to do. But again, if it was releasing one dark secret, I love people to be able to taste the barrel and taste the different flavors you get from the barrel. And like I said, a lot of people think all the barrels are the same, and I'm tasting two different barrels here, and I'm almost like I'm drinking two different beers, but I'm not, because they're the same batch. So it's pretty fun. And honestly, this is the first time I'm tasting these two side by side. Last year I tasted, off of the barrels I taste them, but this is the first time I'm tasting them side by side.
Oh, well, thanks for sharing that experience with us. I feel like this is that's kind of a big deal. Yeah. A perfect time to do it.
So if I remember correctly, is one of the variations of Dark Secret, not variations, but one of the barrels that are coming out, was that like a Binny's pick?
So those are coming. So
okay.
We're actually canning that tomorrow. I will probably, let me see if I could send you a photo.
I have this voice screaming in my head every time you say you're doing something that wants to say, on my way. I need to stop that.
So this will be the second Binny's collaboration, Binny's Pick Barrels we're doing. We have Wild Turkey Russell's Reserve barrels, and again, I taste them, and it's different than some other barrels. So I'm really happy with them. We're excited that's the beer that's going to get out to market. The beer we have released Black Friday might get out a little bit, but that's the beer that we have enough of to get to their Binny stores. And this is another project we've been working on for 20 months. So We're finally bringing this to life, and it's been fun along the way with getting different barrels from them and working with them on the label and being able to get a different variants out there that no one else is going to have, not even us at the brew pub. We're not even going to sell it there.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So it's going to be an exclusive Binny's deal.
Well, when we get a hold of some, we'll have to maybe have you come back on.
Oh yeah.
We'll send you some.
Yeah, I won't have any.
Yeah, it's funny, just thinking about that, how many people, may just not realize like how exclusive of a beer that actually is. Like if you see it at Binny's and just like, it's just another barrel-aged dark secret. No, it's a specific and special barrel-aged dark secret. And I'm super excited. And I definitely, do you know roughly when it's going to hit Binny's stores?
We wanted them to release it after our Black Friday, so there's no confusion. So I would say probably December is what we're looking for. So it's right around the corner. We want our Black Friday release to go finish up, and then we get the labels in next week. We're gonna label up the beer and ship it off to them. So I'm thinking logistically December, first 2 weeks in December. We just didn't want to confuse people of releasing our Dark Secret out to the market and then us having our Black Friday event. And again, they're two different beers, so it's going to be fun to try them all side by side.
Yeah, I'm thinking that will be a nice maybe Christmas Eve beer for me this year. I like to save whatever one or two barrel age offerings from the Chicagoland area that I save specifically. Like I'm saving this. I know that this is going to be for Christmas Eve, because what I like to do on Christmas Eve, that's when I wrap gifts. I don't wrap gifts at all. Like we go out and we normally we'll go to a family member's house or have it here or whatever, and home by like 9 or 10. I'm not driving, and I've had a few already, and then it's like now it's time to wrap gifts, and that's when I crack open one or two special beers. So that for all you other people out there who do the same thing that I do, maybe this beer is what you hold on to for your Christmas Eve wrapping, and you and I can wrap gifts together and enjoy the special Binny's Dark Secret. There was the commercial right there. Printed.
Yeah, it sounded like it.
Right. There we go.
Yeah, I mean, thought too is like, a nice Christmas, us thinking too, it's like, we have our Black Friday, we have our Thanksgiving there. And, a lot of people can't hold on to the beer. If they get a 4-pack, they don't hold on to it till Christmas, So, we thought, hey, let's
Wish I had that
finish thing and
problem.
do it after. Yeah.
That's my problem.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my problem is I do hold on to things, and it's like, oh, great. Now what?
Until I come by.
Yeah.
So yeah, we thought Christmas would be a good kind of release. People get, around, before the holidays for another Dark Secret, and we're pretty excited to get that one out.
Yeah, it would be nice if breweries, if like all the Chicagoland breweries could get together. This would never work because someone's gonna be like, we're the first because everyone wants to spend their money on us or whatever.
Yeah.
But I mean, there's so many available that if it was spread out wider, I mean, how awesome each week, you'd find something.
Yeah.
Although that is kind of the way it has become in our area with barrel age releasing. I mean, with Dark Secret coming out Black Friday, and as everybody knows who listens to this, there's another brewery that does a big Black Friday release as well with their barrel aged beers, Goose Island. And Short Fuse is doing, or has done theirs by the time this comes out, has already done theirs. Maplewood has done theirs. Revolution has theirs coming out, every 3 weeks or something, their whole series. Half Acre has it. Beguile has it. I mean, I know I'm leaving some out. Cruz Blanca. There's so many barrel aged beers, and I feel like we're so lucky to live in this area, this part of the country. It's barrel aged country this time of year, and it's so awesome. So I'm really excited that you guys have the Benny's exclusive that will be coming out in December, because a lot of the stuff is coming out in November, a couple things maybe in December, but to know that you guys have the big Dark Secret release. And then there's another Dark Secret coming out that's just going to be at Benny's. So that's a bonus, man. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. Pretty fun because, this year special, we had different variances throughout the year. So usually it's just, Black Friday and that's it. And, and then you got to wait till next year. So this year is pretty fun to, release a couple different through the year.
I feel like it would have been, I mean, this definitely probably wasn't planned, or maybe it is. It's called Dark Secret, but doing the special release at Benny's and just kind of floating some like social media posts, like specific stores that it's at, and you got to solve some kind of puzzle to find out where the Dark Secret is. That'd be awesome. Like, I would do that. I remember, and just like not.
If you want, I can hide some beers throughout the city in our neighborhood and just make that
an Easter egg hunt.
Yeah, I'll do. Yeah, you know what? Tommy and I will get together and put together a map of a Dark Secret hunt for you.
Or you can do. Hey, maybe that's a good Easter idea. You want to do like an Easter Dark Secret? There you go. Make it an Easter egg hunt.
Keep flavored.
Well, it's funny because that kind of popped into my head because back years ago, when Half Acre first started, they used to do these random social media posts and like hide tokens somewhere, and like people would go and you'd find the token and they'd give you a bunch of like beer and swag. I was like,
yeah.
I could never figure it out. Like I would literally watch it all the time. I was like, I have no idea where that is. I'm like, and I'm not even going to try. But it was just kind of cool to see stuff like that. So, Dark Secret is, you got the perfect name for like, unless you want to start randomly hiding cans around the city and then a miner finds it, and then you're really in trouble.
Yeah, don't do that.
Mom, look what I found. I feel funny. So wait, what do we? So
Where
we're drinking this.
What's happening?
I was gonna say.
I think we're in Easter right now.
Yeah. I keep going back and I'm like, well, Tony's not drinking the.
Is it November right now or April?
Yeah, it's April. Before you know it, spring's right around the corner.
I don't know. I'm just shocked that Thanksgiving's coming up. So
I do love this time. I love this time of year for multiple reasons. I am someone who embraces the holidays. I explained this to my wife. She's not huge on holidays. She likes them, but I embrace out. I love the holidays because I felt like growing up, no matter what was going on, and not that I had a terribly hard life. This is going to sound like the biggest sob story or something, but no matter what was going on in my life, or people I knew around me, at least like we had those like holidays where it was like no matter what's going on, things could really suck. It's a great time to spend time with family and friends, and whether it's huge or you see one person or one family member, one friend or whatever, it's always like I always look forward to this time of year. And the bonus of it is barrel aged beer in Chicago.
Yeah, it's funny because that's how our Black Friday feels. We go Thanksgiving at our family's house, and everybody that's there works at the brew pub with us. You know, my mom, my sister, my cousins, we're all at the brewery, and
what, taking your work home with you?
well, we finish eating dinner. We're like, what are we gonna do now? We're like, well, we got to get up at 5 a.m. and go set up for Dark Secret Day. So, you know,
it's a long day.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go sleep at the brewery. I'll see you guys later.
Yeah. So, you know,
set up a cot.
We've been open 15 years, and I'm 41 now. So, you know, we opened when I started opening the brew when I was 25, and those days were a little rough to get up for, to open up at 6 a.m. because I'd be out the night before. But now I'm in bed by 9 o'clock, so it's like I'm the first one there probably.
Yeah, it's funny how that changes. I never thought that would change for me, of being like, my wife still goes to bed before me, but late for me now has become 10:30. Like, whoa, this is really staying up late. I got to get to bed.
Yeah, there's a reason I don't work retail anymore.
Yeah,
especially like I used to work at Sears, and then I think they'd open at like 5. I think first couple of years was 6 o'clock, and then it was 5 o'clock. Then I stopped working there, and then I remember like the last couple of years they were open in the city. They were like, they're going to open at 4. I'm like, why? No. Who goes to Sears at 4 in the morning?
You just go straight to work from the night before that.
I know.
Yeah.
But then I'd have like, and this is when I was in my 20s, and I had friends that like they'd have Thanksgiving dinner. Like, come on, let's go out. And we would go out, and I'd come home. It's 3 a.m. I'd literally lay down for 10 minutes, get up, shower, and like walk to work still drunk. And I'd stop at Dunkin' Donuts and get a box of coffee and like a dozen donuts. And then I'd like hide in the office until the doors open.
That's why Sears closed down, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. You're the guy.
Yep.
Brandon, are you still drinking the tiramisu, right?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if you ended up going to the 15. I was going to see what you thought about it. Sorry.
No, but so I don't necessarily remember because it was a while ago, but I did have the 15 before, and it was stellar. I didn't let it warm up. I drank it out of the can because Tommy threw one at me when I was at the brewery, and I wasn't going to say no.
Threw it at you. Wow.
No, well,
what a welcome.
Gave me one to have. And then I can actually say I did help brew the coming batch of Dark Secret because I helped pour in the candied sugar.
Hey.
Oh, yeah, you were there that day?
Yeah, remember?
Okay.
I was with, I forget the guy's name that I was up there with, but we were dumping in the sugar. Yeah, we were sitting there just dumping in the buckets of sugar. So,
yeah.
Holy shit! Look at you, man.
Yeah, we use a ton of dark Belgian candy sugar in this.
I know, dude. And I got some on my hand, and I tried it, and I was like, "This stuff's great." It's like, I know why this is in beer. Well, I
know why I invited you that day because I hate lifting up those buckets to the fruit kettle.
Yeah, come by this day. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
You can take a look at the brewery. Maybe you could help out brew this beer.
It was kind of funny though. Ironically, so that our company does like every once a quarter we get like a Wednesday off, and that kind of worked out for me to go down there. And I took a couple of pictures when I was there, and then in our like group. Like our employee like communication channel, we have like a specific communication of like what you did on this special day off. And I was like, I went to a brewery and I took some pictures, and and some person that I work with that I've never met before was like, is that Brickstone? And I was like, yeah. She goes, yeah, I live all the way up in Elgin, but I could see that from a mile away. I was like, there was nothing in the picture that said Brickstone, and it was of the like production facility. And she was like, that's Brickstone. I was like, holy shit.
That's awesome.
And she was like, yeah, I drink a lot of beer. I was like, okay, fair enough.
You are getting a promotion.
Yeah, right.
She's gonna be on your show next.
yeah, exactly. And that's how it works. That's how it works.
That's how we find our guests.
Yeah. If you like drinking beer, you're allowed on the show. I have a bad tendency of plowing through beers, and I realize this. I just like So two things. One, I love carbonated things. So I have an addiction to carbonated water now, which is a good thing, I guess. I don't know how that carbonic acid does to my teeth and my guts or whatever, but I enjoy drinking carbonated water a lot. And I realize that when I come home from work, that's what I'm craving in general, something carbonated, not soda or anything. So I have now in place of beer, I now just slam bubblies left and right. But with same thing goes oddly enough with like barrel aged stouts. I love the taste of barrel aged beer so much that like I have to stop myself and slow myself down to like, hey, dude, this is, enjoy this, savor the flavor. And so I've been really good because I think I opened this beer, I don't know, 10 minutes into us talking, and I still have this much left, which is very impressive. And I feel like I've taken a bunch of sips, Brandon. There you go. That's how much I got there. And as I let it warm up a little bit before we started recording until I found out I had, the wrong link to join you guys here.
In the wrong chat room.
Yeah, I was. Yeah. I was like, says it starts at 8. I don't know what's going on. I'm normally the first in. But it really is like the whole idea of, let certain beers kind of warm up. My beer fridge is pretty cold because I've got all sorts of beers in there. So, if I have to pull a stout out, I let it sit for a while. Like I plan ahead, like, oh, I'm going to drink this. So let it sit for a bit to kind of warm up. And the more that this is sat here, the more not like it becomes better. It really does. Like it keeps getting better and better. And of course, as you drink stuff, sometimes you feel a little better as well. So that might have something to do with it, but it really is like I'm almost getting less of that dark cocoa as much as I'm getting more chocolate now. And I know that has a lot that plays in with the whole idea of like, when you get those vanilla essence from, bourbon barrels and bourbon itself, I feel like that's kind of playing a role into it a little bit more. So it's getting better. It's getting better to me. It's so tasty, man. It's really good. And I have a habit of reminding people that I'm not blowing smoke up your ass. We have had beers on this show where I have just kind of plainly said what I thought about it without, being a jerk about it. But anytime that I am really enjoying a beer, I do genuinely mean it. If I didn't like this, I'm like, yeah, this is nice. And I probably would have left it at that.
That's
you can find the episode where I've done that. I'll give you.
I'm gonna watch the last episode of ours.
they call that the Guy Fieri method. If you ever watch Diners, Drive-Ins, and Dive, they say if he ever goes into just describing what's in the dish, he doesn't really like it. Yeah. But if he talks about the flavors, then he does. But it's like, oh, this chicken, oh, you did really good with the chicken, and then the milk and the cream to make that sauce, good. And then it's like he hated it.
That's a good point because I
good raspberries.
I set my dark secret out at like 7:20 on my desk, and because I like it to warm up, and I always tell people, I'm like, honestly, let it warm up. You get different flavors. Yep. I do drink it, colder, and then I like to sip on it throughout, and I start getting different flavors and different layers and different flavors. And a lot of people, when they drink barrel aged beers, they just, they might only be drinking 3-4 ounces at a time, and they'll finish it within the first 5 minutes.
Yeah.
But and they're missing some flavors.
Yeah, I feel like as this warmed up, and it's getting more, used to my palate tasting it. And this isn't a negative thing. I've lost a little bit of the dark fruit, but it's been replaced now, like I said, with more of a chocolate overtone.
Chocolate bourbon, I feel.
Yeah. That's awesome. I love the way it's transforming as I'm drinking it.
Yeah, I got the same palate as you because same thing. I was tasting dark fruit in the beginning, and now I'm tasting just more chocolate and bourbon sweetness.
So kind of funny that you both mentioned that. So I took this raspberry tiramisu out cold, cracked it, and started sipping on it. And the reason I do that most of the time is because it is a different beer when it's cold, and I do kind of enjoy stouts when they're cold. But I do like to see how they progress. When I first had it, I talked about you get the raspberry and the vanilla, like that would have been something, pouring over ice cream or something like that would have just been like a really nice compliment. What's completely different about this now is it almost tastes like a chocolate covered raspberry, the raspberry tiramisu, like dark chocolate covered raspberry, because it's deep cocoa and bright raspberry still coming through. And that's like, I like this more now. And I was like, I wish I had more because I'd let another one sit out and warm up because this is awesome.
Yeah, I get more of the chocolate as it warms up. Kind of fun to try it, different stages. We did another barrel aged. Like I said, this is the only this is the only imperial stout I brewed in my lifetime. Besides one, I brewed a small batch at the brew pub last year, and it's aging in barrels right now. And it's going to be fun to try that one because I took some flavors from Dark Secret that I love, and I tried to push more of those into that imperial stout we did. I still don't have a name for it, so I'll have to figure that out. But it'll be interesting to see. I use some more of that. I like a lot of that dark chocolate and flavors and coffee. So I used a little bit more of those in this batch that I brewed. It's only that would be my second imperial stout I brewed in my
So this is
your career.
Your dark secret. Yeah.
Darker.
I was gonna say, just don't call it Into the Void. That's our beer name, Tommy. We've made that beer.
Hey man, I trademarked that already.
Shit.
Actually, my attorney.
Hey, that'd be a first. So that I feel like we made we made a podcast history there if an attorney reaches out to us and says, "Hey, don't do that."
I've only had that happen to me once in my life, and it was Howard Stern's attorney, and I will never let that happen again.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I remember you talking. Have you talked about that? I think you've talked about that on the podcast before.
I might have. When I used to, I was printing stuff when he went over to Sirius. I made a bunch of shirts and designs and stuff like that, and I made a crap ton of money just selling them on this website. And then I got a cease and desist from Don Buchwald, Howard Stern's attorney. I was
at least it was just a cease and desist instead of hey, you owe us money now.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah, speaking of
you gotta have him on the show now.
There we go. That's also how it works. Someone mentions something and yeah, that's a good idea. We'll do that. And then we normally do. Well, I don't know. It's more the sound effects we don't add into the show. Speaking of Into the Void, Brandon, you and I need to brew that again. Man.
We do.
We need to revisit that.
What was it? November 14th was
a year ago.
A year.
Did it. Yeah. So
that's what we gave to Tommy, and Tommy was like, "It's a little thin."
Hey, man.
It was.
Yeah, that is constructive criticism, and I appreciate that. There's, it's you gotta take it, and I agree with it. It's a bit thin. I love the flavor of it. I mean,
and
it's not the end all be all recipe.
What Tommy has consistently said twice when he was talking about Dark Secret is just boil it longer, boil it longer, and then we said same thing he said to us. He's like, boil it a little longer.
I was someone.
I'm okay with that.
Someone that we've brewed with in the past, who I will not mention. Excuse me. Oh, there we go. It's all that carbonated water now fighting with Dark Secret inside of me. Who we've brewed with in the past had said, I don't care what the volume is,
right,
as much as what the projected original gravity was supposed to be and what the body is supposed to be. And if you design a recipe, when you design a recipe and you're designing it, how you in your mind, when you put it into whatever you're doing or writing it down, you have this type of profile in mind, like how you want it to taste, the mouth feel, hops, all that. We do like thicker stouts. I don't necessarily super chewy, but I'm not opposed to it. And really, if it came down to us just to a little bit longer, then that's all we got to do. That's why you got to keep that grab in the boil. It doesn't matter how long we've boiled it.
Yeah, I tell people that don't worry about. A lot of people don't want to boil longer because they're going to lose the volume. They say, well, I'm going to have less beer, but you're going to have the beer you want.
Right.
So, we boil off a ton. And actually, we have 3 jackets. We have our internal colander, we have a bottom jacket, side jacket. We have an oversized boiler, and all of our beers except Dark Secret, we only use the calandria and the bottom jacket. We don't use the side jacket. It just boils too hard. And for Dark Secret, we boil all 3 jackets. And I think this year we boiled 135 minutes, so 2 hours and 15 minutes.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I
And
mean,
it's tough because it's a long brew day, and you say, "Oh, I'm almost there. I just got to boil left," and then you're like, "Oh, it's a 2 hour and 15-minute boil," as opposed to our regular, 75-minute one. And it's just, we have to do 2 mashes to fill our kettle.
oh man.
So for us to brew Dark Secret, we do a 30-barrel. We have a 50-barrel brew house, but the mash mixer could only do 30 barrels of Dark Secret because there's so much grain. So we pump 30 barrels over to the brew kettle. We hold it in there. Then we do another 30-barrel batch. We pump that 30 barrels into the kettle, so that we have 60 barrels. So we're boiling 60 barrels. And then
insane.
so that's one day. And then the next day we do the same thing. So it's, it's a long brew. It's definitely 2 back-to-back long brew days for us. But, in the end, I tell the guys, I'm like, look, we do this once a year, and honestly, the whole team, it's such a long brew day. It's a fun beer to brew. They all want to be there that long.
Sure.
Yeah.
I said, hey, do you want me to get in or get started? No, everyone wants to be there, started and finish. So
That's
it's
awesome.
fun,
Yeah, I think that that's a good tip just for home brewers. Excuse me, brewers as well as just if a brew day in general at home can be long, unless a simple beer where you can cut corners on mash times or you're adjusting volumes and stuff like that. I just did that with brown ale that I brewed recently. Adjusted my volume, which I still did a full hour mash, but I adjusted the volume of how much I was using for my sparge water, because I was like, you know what, I want to be here. I don't want to be out all night. It was this past super cold outside, and I thought we were getting snow, but I was in my garage. I was like, I want to cut down on time, so I ended up doing a half-hour boil and adjusted my hops and everything. I ended up with my 5.5 gallons because I figured anywhere from a half to a full gallon, and I hit my numbers. So if you plan ahead, if you plan ahead in the other sense, look, I got nothing going on today. If I need to stand here and let this boil, maybe you have yourself another Pilsner at the end of the day, while you're brewing. Don't have anything huge during your brew day unless you really don't care how that beer is going to turn out. I've had that mistake before.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I did have a Revolution Death Tower towards the end of my mash, because I had a brown ale beforehand, and then I had a Death Star towards the end of my mash, because I said, this is going to be it. This is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to sip this until I'm done. And that's how it worked out. But yeah, if you plan ahead and invest that time and just letting it boil off a little bit longer, you'll end up with a beer that you want. Yeah,
we don't even when we brew Dark Secret, we don't sparge. So we send it all over, and to keep our gravity high, we don't do any sparge. So it's a quick. It's in the water. We boil off a little bit, and then we're just going straight. And it's so weird not to sparge on a beer. We're like, wait, is this going to turn out okay? The first few times, I'm like, over the years, brewing Dark Secret, I'm like, fuck, I want the gravity higher, so either boil longer. But I'm like, let's not sparge and see what happens. So over the last, I guess, probably 4 or 5 years, we've never sparged Dark Secret, and we were able to hit our numbers.
I've had that idea in the past of, if I did Brandon, I think maybe I've talked to you about this, or Mike, where if we did something like our Imperial Stout and you and I used our mash tuns, did the full grain bill as if we were doing a 5-gallon batch, but we just did those first runnings and then boiled that instead of sparging, then we have this big, like Tommy's saying, you're not sparging, you just have all those pure sugars, just the first running. That's all sugar. It's all sugar. That's the best part. And you run with that. And that it's a little more expensive, but you then end up with what you want. And then the other thing is that you can do a second running of a smaller beer in that same mash tun.
Well, our last running is a Dark Secret. It's 18 Plato. So we could do a second running beer, but we have our vessels all tied up, our mash
Mhm.
mixer, because we got to do 2 mashes. So we got them all tied up. So we're always like, the team's like, man, how are we going to get a second running beer? I'm like, unless you want to be here about 35 hours, we could do one. But I said, they're like, we'll save so much more money. I said, I know, but it's a lot of
Absolutely.
hours. So,
Well, that's when you call in 2 guys from Chicago who run a little podcast, and we call that beer Little Secret.
second running.
Ooh, there you go.
Cool runnings. I had to throw that in there.
Can't
Sorry.
trademark, probably.
Probably can't do that. Sorry, I'm zipping my hoodie up, guys. I'll edit that
It's
part out.
So I switched up to the what is it? Is this the double haze juice?
Is it the
black
label
cans.
can?
The black. It's black label. That means it's important.
Yeah, exactly. It's a mystery beer.
It's funny because we've done a mystery beer episode, and I was like, this would have been a perfect thing for a mystery beer episode because there's no label.
Yeah.
Just throw it in, and the mystery beer is.
So I do have a random question. Getting off all of it's not that random. Getting off of the barrel age stuff. I don't know if we told you this when did we wait? What am I? I'm confusing something else. Disregard. I will edit this part out.
That was very random.
Yeah, it was very random. No, maybe was it the milkshake beer? Was it the milkshake IPA?
That's what we had.
Yeah. Was that when we were texting back and forth in the episode? Like, oh my God, this is amazing.
Mhm.
Did you have the latest one, the strawberry one we gave you? Or
No.
what we gave you?
No, I have not had the strawberry one. We had, God damn it, what was it? What was it that we had? Now I don't have to
Checking.
edit it out.
Blueberry
It's not-
pomegranate, maybe?
Yes, that's what it was.
Yeah.
Where me, Brandon, was Clark on that episode?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's right. So me, Brandon, and Clark were texting back and forth. That's why I was getting confused. I was like, wait a minute. I know that Clark was on that episode. Or on the episode with the milkshake IPA. Was that the Brickstone? I remember going to Benny's a couple times and I kept looking for the next iteration of it because I was so excited to try another one. But the milkshake IPAs that you guys did or do, we're not milkshake IPA guys by any means. Brandon's barely a hazy IPA guy. And that was just so phenomenal that we were texting during the interview. How awesome. And we normally don't text during like interviews. We're not texting each other separately if it's a Zoom interview. We were just losing our minds over it. I was gonna ask you just said the what is the one that is available now?
Strawberry.
We had a strawberry rhubarb available.
Ooh.
Yeah, and now the next one I believe we're doing. Let me look this up. I think we have cranberry, orange,
Oh my
vanilla.
God.
That's like a Thanksgiving Christmas.
Yeah,
I know we were trying to push it out before that, and we were like, oh man, we're ready, and we ran out of tank space, and now we're into all these bourbon barrels. So that's what we had planned.
I mean, people will still drink it, but the barrel aged beers kind of take precedence. But yeah, orange. Oh man, that'll still be good even in just cold weather. That's gonna be a nice milkshake IPA. But yeah, that's kind of what that whole long drawn out thing about me not remembering anything that I ever do on this show. Thanks for bearing with me.
So the one question I was going to ask is, you said there's going to be 10 different variations roughly on draft for your Black Friday. So this episode is going to be released on this coming Monday before Black Friday. So is there any kind of hints you can give?
It's the Monday before Thanksgiving is how I should have started the episode.
So any hints you can give us on what might be there?
So let me pull. We have a double dark chocolate. I love chocolate, so we did a double dark chocolate. We're working on a bananas Foster.
What?
So if that turns out like what we anticipate, we'll release that.
Wait. So hold up before you go further. How are you going to get the banana into the beer?
We're gonna puree and put it in the keg. So the way we're
Oh, fun.
Yeah. The way we do it, we end up pureeing. Well, we put it in a keg. Obviously, we can't package this beer. But we'll put it in a keg, and then we'll put it in an empty keg, all the puree and flavorings we're going to use in it, and then we'll push the dark secret on top of that, so it mixes up.
The only reason I asked about the banana was because Tony and I literally, like, the last couple of weeks have been talking about that same stout that we had brewed, doing a banana version. And he had listened, I think you heard it on a podcast about dehydrating the bananas. And I was like,
Philosophy.
yeah. And I had literally just for my kid dehydrated a bunch of bananas. And I was like surprised at how much of a banana flavor got like punched in the face. And it was like, we should do this for a beer. I'm like, that is a great idea. So, but then right after that, I heard somebody else doing a banana beer and they were pureeing it. I'm like, well, that works too. Like,
Well, that's fun either way. Well, I hope that one turns out, because I'm a huge fan of Bananas Foster.
Yeah.
My neighbor, real quick before we keep jumping off this, but my neighbor next door, Jeff, who's been on the show many times, I was familiar with Bananas Foster. I think maybe I had it once in my life, and one time we went over to his house, my wife and daughter and I, just for like a neighborly holiday dinner, and I had just spent the day at Revolution drinking a bunch of like Death Star variants because it was like the release that year. And he's like, we're gonna do Bananas Foster, and we're gonna throw the bananas in here with booze and cinnamon and lit it on fire. It was hilarious and terrifying at the same time. But I have this huge love for bananas done well, and especially in a stout, because I mean, who doesn't love a chocolate covered banana? That's like
yeah. That's what we thought right away. Chocolate and banana, you can't go around.
Mm-hmm.
All right, what else you got?
What else we got? Pulling up the list here. I said we got a double dark chocolate we're doing.
Yep.
So we have some of our 2020 Weller. We have a raspberry dark secret from this year we're doing. We have a mint chocolate chip that we had. Yeah. We did that for our anniversary party, and we did
saw
it.
that.
Really
I saw that checked in on Untapped, and I was like, what? How did I not know about this? I love mint, and we don't have to get into this now. Tommy, I might ask you about this when we're done, because I don't want to spend too much time on the whole like home brewing aspect, even though that is part of the show. But I definitely want to try and figure out how to get mint into a beer. So please continue with any other variants that you wanted to talk about.
Yeah. And then we have, and then we took a batch and we just did tons of vanilla on it. So we're, double vanilla.
Yes.
We kind of went overboard on it. So we'll see. People that love vanilla will probably, love it.
Absolutely. I'm not joking when I'm saying I'm now really considering seeing what if my mom, I don't know if my stepdad would be down for it. Maybe
you're taking him for breakfast. It's fine.
Yeah. Well, actually, you know what? That man does love biscuits and gravy.
Oh, there you go.
And so I think if I make, like, I always want to try and take them out somewhere as far as like a brewery's concerned. And my stepdad does enjoy different types of beer. He gets on different kicks. Like for the longest time, Allagash White, he thought was the bee's fucking knees. And he's not wrong. Allagash White is good. But he was like, oh man, that is the best beer ever. And then I forgot what he found. Oh, then he discovered, he said, hey, did you ever hear of this beer, Angry Orchard? I was like, yeah, Tony, that's a hard cider. His name's Tony as well. Sorry. So he gets on these different kicks, and he'll buy cases of beers, and they live in Florida, and he'll leave it in the garage. So, he doesn't drink that much. What are you doing, man? You're killing me. Don't tell me that shit. Just tell me what you're drinking this month.
After it was in his trunk.
Yeah, exactly. So I think I can sell them on the biscuits and gravy. And then my mom, who is not a big beer fan, but anytime I like, Mom, try this beer. It's supposed to taste like this, this, and that, especially with fun barrel-aged beers. She'll take a sip sometimes and be like, nope, that's not for me. I forgot what I gave her recently, but it was like, yeah, this is what it's supposed to taste like. And she took a sip. And she's like, oh yeah, I can taste that. And then she started having a conversation with my wife and kept taking sips. to finally where I interrupted the conversation. I was like, okay, I just wanted you to try it. Thank you. So maybe I can sell them on that. And that would be a great way to, get the weekend started. Friday morning, head down to Brickstone and I've got
there's Black Friday deals out there. You got to get this big TV.
Oh yeah, good idea.
Yeah.
You know what? I mean, I'm missing the TV in my guest room right now because I had to give it to my daughter when she went away for college. So what better time to do it?
100-inch TV for $200. Tell them.
Done. Merry Christmas to all of us. It's just a gift for the house.
Yeah, because Tommy's going to be selling TVs out of the back of his trunk.
Yeah.
Wait a minute, Tommy, you trying to sell me a TV?
Look what I found on
Hey,
the
man,
side
I got
of
a
the
side
road.
job here.
This dark secret's not going to pay for itself. I just told you, we don't sparge.
That being said, I do kind of, not to end this conversation because this is great, but I do kind of want to close it out and remind people of this release that's coming up and where people need to go to be able to get this release. So basically, let us know when, where.
Yeah, so Black Friday, we're bringing it back to the brew pub, like it was in prior years. Doors open at 8 a.m. We'll probably start, it's all first come, first serve. We'll probably have a limit. We wouldn't know that until we finish packaging this week to see our yields. But it's always a fun time. Biscuits and gravy and beer, and be buzzed by 8:30 in the morning and go to your Black Friday shopping.
So for those that may be new to listening, where exactly is the brew pub located?
Bourbonnais, so 557 Latham Drive in Bourbonnais, right off I-57, about 5 minutes right off the highway. And our production facilities not too far from there.
A little less than a mile away, roughly.
Yeah, you can see it from there. You can walk there on a nice day, but so we're hosting it at the brew pub where it all began, and should be pretty fun.
That's awesome. Yeah, Tommy, thanks again, man, for joining us again and throwing some
drinking
beers
with us.
Yeah, drinking with us.
Problem.
You are always welcome on this show, and I have a feeling that we'll just keep talking.
Yeah, if you ever have anything you want to talk about, let us know. And we're free.
Yeah,
we'll make ourselves available.
We got open.
It might take
a month.
month.
Come brew with you guys.
That would be awesome.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah. And then you can tell
just
us,
don't put me to work like I put you to work, Brandon.
No, you just show up. Just show up with a 6-pack of whatever the milkshake beer is at that time.
All right.
And we'll share the Benny's exclusive dark secret with you.
Yeah, thank you.
You just point and tell us what to do. That's what we do.
Yeah, you got to be the guy who says, just keep letting it boil. Don't stop the boil yet.
I won't be shy. Like, what the fuck are you doing there? That's fine.
Well, all right, Tommy. Thanks again, man, and everybody.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, man. Everybody, go out there if you're in the surrounding area, or even if you have a chance to just come up this way into Illinois. Stop by Brickstone on Black Friday. It's going to be awesome. You might just see me and or Brandon and my mom and stepmom there.
Yeah.
Your mom and stepmom?
My mom and stepmom. By the way, Tony, no, I'm not going to go there. My mom and stepdad. I don't want to get canceled tonight. All right, Brandon, I love you, man.
I love you too.
Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. If I don't see you, happy holidays.
Thanks, man. Same to you, Tommy.
Yeah, cheers.
Cheers. This has been The Malting Hour. Be sure to follow us on all social media by searching The Malting Hour and at themaltinghour.com. You can also follow us on social media platforms individually. Brandon can be found on Instagram as BMDub81, on Twitter, BDub81, on Untapped, BDub Drinks Beer. Tony can be found on Instagram and Untapped under Asa Phelps Chicago, on Twitter, The Asa Phelps Chicago. Clark can be found as Clarkowski on all three. Be sure to subscribe, like, and rate the show on your preferred podcast listening platform. Until next time, cheers from all of us at The Malting Hour.